Then comes the Mendeleev. Another scientist came, Mendeleev. He gave the periodic table. What did he did? Even after the rejection of Newland's law of octaves, many scientists continued to search for a pattern that correlated the properties of elements with their atomic masses. So, after Newland's law of octaves also, many scientists, they continued to search for the pattern which was related to the properties of elements with their atomic masses only. So what did Mendeleev did? What was the contribution of Mendeleev? The main credit for classifying elements goes to Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev. It's his full name. A Russian chemist. He is a Russian chemist. He was the most important contributor to the early development of a periodic table of elements. He was the most important contributor, wherein the elements were arranged on the basis of their fundamental property, the atomic mass, and also on the similarity of chemical properties. And he arranged these elements based on their fundamental property, that is their atomic mass and the similarity of chemical properties. So, Mendeleev gave the concept of periodic table. Periodic table is chart of elements which is prepared in such a way that elements having similar properties occur in same vertical group. The elements which are having similar properties, they occur in the same vertical group. So this way, these are the elements which are having the similar chemical properties. They are arranged in the same vertical group, that is 7, 23 and 39. When Mendeleev started its work, 63 elements were known. He examined the relation between the atomic masses of the elements and their physical and chemical properties. And among chemical properties, Mendeleev concentrated on the compounds formed by elements with oxygen and hydrogen. Mostly when he was arranging the elements based on their chemical properties, he concentrated on the compounds that were formed by elements with oxygen and hydrogen. He selected oxygen and hydrogen as they are very reactive. Why did he select that? Because they are very reactive and formed compounds with most elements. Oxygen and hydrogen forms the compounds with most of the elements. The formula of the hydrides and oxides which are formed by an element were treated as one of the basic properties of an element's for his classification. He then took 63 cards. What did he did? He took 63 cards and on each card he wrote down the properties of one element. On each card he wrote down the properties of one of the element. He sorted out the elements with similar properties. Then he separated the elements with similar properties and pinned the cards together on a wall. He altogether with the cards with similar properties, he pinned it on the wall. He observed that most of the elements got a place in a periodic table. Most of the elements were arranged in the periodic table and were arranged in the order of their increasing atomic masses, which was the fundamental property. They were arranged in their increasing atomic masses. Then, Mendeleev's periodic table contains vertical columns called groups and horizontal rows called periods. So, his Mendeleev's table, this periodic table, it contains vertical columns which we call as groups and horizontal rows which we call as periods, right? So here these are given. These are the periods which are the horizontal rows. These are the rows and it contains vertical columns. These are the columns which we term as groups. So these are the groups and these are the columns of the Mendeleev's periodic table. Then properties of the elements are the periodic function of their atomic masses. In this there are 7 periods and 8 groups. In the periodic table 7 periods are there and 8 groups are there. Out of 8 groups, 7 are of normal elements and 1 of transition elements. 7 are normal and one group is of transition elements. If we see it, while developing the periodic table, there were a few instances where Mendeleev had to place an element with a slightly greater atomic. Then the sequence was inverted so that elements with similar properties could be grouped together. The sequence which he made was inverted so that the elements with similar properties he could group together. For example, cobalt, having the atomic mass of 58.9, appeared before nickel, whose atomic mass is 58.7. So this way you can see the table 5.4 on page number 83 of your given textbook. It is the Mendeleev's periodic table which is given based on atomic mass. In that, the cobalt's atomic mass is 58.9 and it appeared before nickel, whose atomic mass is 58.7. So further, Mendeleev left some gaps in his periodic table. Instead of looking upon these gaps as defect, Mendeleev boldly predicted the existence of some elements that had not been discovered at that time. Then you can see some of the gaps in the table given, right? Here, these are the gaps which are given. But Mendeleev he predicted that these gaps are left for the elements which have not been discovered yet. These are kept for the elements which are going to be discovered in future. And then Mendeleev named them by prefixing a Sanskrit numeral Eka, that is 1, to the name of preceding element in the same group. For instance, scandium, gallium and germanium discovered later have properties similar to that of Eka, that is boron, aluminium and silicon respectively. So this gallium, scandium and germanium, they had the properties similar to boron, aluminium and silicon. So they were kept in the preceding, they were kept one element further the preceding element. So it is kept like this way. So that's why he has left the place for the elements which are going to be discovered further. So the properties of Eka, that is aluminium, which is predicted by Mendeleev, and those of element gallium, which was discovered later and replaced aluminium. It replaced aluminium. So he left gaps in his table for unknown elements, and he thought that when these elements would discover later on, they can be placed in table without disturbing the other elements. So that's why when scandium, gallium and germanium were discovered, the other elements were not disturbed. So then this provided convincing evidence for both the correctness and usefulness of Mendeleev's periodic table. As you can see, if you want aluminium, the atomic mass of aluminium is 68 and the atomic mass of gallium is 69.7. So aluminium, if you see in the table, it is given in the row, the period in which the aluminium is placed, or if we say the group in which aluminium is placed, in the similar group gallium is also placed. So further, it was extraordinary success of Mendeleev's prediction that led chemists not only to accept his periodic table but also to recognize him as the originator of the concept on which it is based. He was the originator of the concept of the periodic table. Then noble gases like helium, neon and argon have been mentioned in many a context before this. So these gases were discovered very late because they are very inert and present in extremely low concentration in our atmosphere. So one of the strengths of Mendeleev's periodic table was that when these gases were discovered, they could be placed in a new group without disturbing the existing order. So another contribution of Mendeleev was also that he said that whenever these noble gases will be discovered, they could be placed in a new group which should not disturb the existing order. So this question this could be a question which can be asked, that why inert, or we can say why noble gases they were discovered very late, or we can write down they are very inert. If you can say that why are noble gases very inert, this could be a question which could be asked. So you can write down they are present in extremely very low concentration in our atmosphere, right? So then here are some merits of Mendeleev's periodic table. He grouped the element on the basis of atomic mass, right? And he left gaps for undiscovered elements like gallium, scandium and germanium. Even he left full group vacant for undiscovered inert gases. This which we learned just now, these are the advantages of Mendeleev's table. Then he could predict proportions of several elements on basis of their position in periodic table, like gallium, scandium, etc., which I told you. This gallium is replaced by aluminium is replaced by gallium because of its atomic masses. And then he could predict errors in atomic weights of some elements like gold, platinum, etc. He also predicted the errors in the atomic weights. Then some of the anomalies are there, that is some of the limitations are there of Mendeleev's table, is that position of isotopes could not be explained. Electronic configuration, let me tell you in simple manner, electronic configuration of hydrogen resembles that of alkali metals. The electronic configuration, if you say the of hydrogen, it resembles to that of alkali metals. So like alkali metals, hydrogen combines with halogen, oxygen and sulfur to form compounds having similar formula. So like alkali metals combine with halogens, that is chlorine, then with oxygen like water, and with sulfur, that is hydrogen sulfide. So in the similar manner, hydrogen also can combine, that is hydrochloric acid. Then so it could be done in a similar way. If I take example of sodium is an alkali metal. So sodium could combine with halogen, that is it could combine with chlorine to form sodium chloride, it could combine with oxygen to form sodium oxide, it could combine with sulfur to form sodium sulfide. Similarly, hydrogen also could combine with halogen, oxygen and sulfur to produce hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, water and hydrogen sulfide, because its electronic configuration resembles that of alkali metals. On the other hand, just like halogens, hydrogen also exists as diatomic molecules, means two atoms. Hydrogen could also exist as diatomic molecules, and it could combine with metals and non-metals to form covalent compounds. So this is the property of hydrogen. Certainly no fixed position can be given to hydrogen. So that's why it could not be given any fixed position in the periodic table. So this was the first limitation of Mendeleev's periodic table, that hydrogen element could not be given any fixed position in the periodic table. So that's why he could not assign a correct position to hydrogen in his table. So isotopes were discovered long after Mendeleev had proposed his periodic classification of elements. He also did not discovered that where will be the position of isotopes in the periodic table. So but later on, after his discovery, isotopes were discovered. So let us recall that isotopes of an element have similar chemical properties but different atomic mass, right? Isotopes are the elements, those are having similar chemical properties, but the atomic mass is different. That is, isotopes have same atomic numbers, their atomic mass are different. So isotopes of all elements posed a challenge to Mendeleev's periodic law. So then another problem was that the atomic masses do not increase in a regular manner in going from one element to the next. The atomic mass was not increasing in a regular manner. If we go from one element to the another element, the atomic mass was not increasing in a regular manner. So it was not possible to predict how many elements could be discovered between two elements. So it was not possible that in between these two elements how many elements would be discovered, especially when we consider about heavier elements. So these are the limitations of Mendeleev's table, that position of isotopes could not be explained. Then wrong order of atomic masses could not be explained. For example, if I tell you argon having atomic mass 40 come first and potassium with low atomic mass 30 should come later, but potassium should be placed first according to this law, right? According to this atomic mass, potassium is having low atomic mass, so it could be placed first, but argon is placed further than potassium. So this is the wrong order of atomic mass. Then comes the modern periodic table. After the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table, there comes the modern periodic table. This modern periodic table, it was given by Henry Moseley. In 1913, Henry Moseley showed that the atomic number of an element is a more fundamental property than its atomic mass. Henry Moseley said atomic number is the most important fundamental property, not the atomic mass. And according to Mendeleev's periodic law, Mendeleev's periodic law was modified and atomic number was adopted as the basis of modern periodic table. Then this Mendeleev's periodic law was modified, and then according to the atomic number it was adopted, and on the basis of that the modern periodic table was organized. And the modern periodic law can be stated as: properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic number. The properties of the elements, they are the periodic function of their atomic number. So determine the atomic number of elements from their X-ray spectra. He arranged elements by increasing atomic number, not the atomic mass. And he was killed in the WWI at age 28, which was the Battle of Gallipoli in Turkey. Then modern periodic table. The modern periodic table, which was prepared by Bohr. It was prepared by Bohr. But before that, let us recall that the atomic number gives us the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. It gives us the number of protons. The number of protons that are present in the nucleus is the atomic number, right? And this number increases by 1 in going from one element to the next. Elements, when arranged in order of increasing atomic number, leads us to the classification known as the modern periodic table. The Mendeleev's periodic table. In the Mendeleev's periodic table, the elements were arranged according to the increasing atomic masses. But when the elements are arranged in the increasing atomic number, we will term it as modern periodic table. Prediction of properties of elements could be made with more precision when elements were arranged on the basis of increasing atomic number. So, as we can see, the modern periodic table takes care of three limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. The anomalous position of hydrogen can be discussed after we see what are the bases on which the position of an element in the periodic table depends. Now, somewhere we have to give the position of hydrogen, right? So, now we will see the position of elements in the modern periodic table, and based on this position, somewhere we will give the position of hydrogen. So, according to it, properties of elements all periodic function of their atomic numbers. So, when elements are arranged according to their increasing atomic number, there is periodicity in electronic configuration that leads to periodicity in their chemical properties. It consists of horizontal rows periods and vertical columns groups. If I say here, you will find, so let's study the position of the elements. So the modern periodic table has 18 vertical columns known as groups. It has 18 vertical columns this way. 18 vertical columns, we term it as groups, okay, and 7 horizontal rows known as periods. These are the 7 horizontal rows which we term as periods. Then let us see what decides the placing of an element in a certain group and period. You can just refer to the periodic table, modern periodic table, table 5.6 on page number 86 in your textbook. Look at the figure 1, group 1. You just look at the group 1 of the periodic table and name the elements present in it. In group 1, the elements present in it, you have to just name it and then write down the electronic configuration of the first 3 elements of group 1. You will then, what is the similarity you will find out in their electronic configurations. How many valence electrons are present in these 3 elements? So you will find that all these elements contain the same number of valence electron. The first 3 elements in the group 1, you will find out that all these elements contain the same number of valence electron. Similarly, you will find that the elements present in any one group has the same number of valence electron. You will also find out the elements that are present in any one group. Suppose if this group, if I take lithium, sodium, this one, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium, if I take, means they have the same number of valence electron. Another example, if I take of elements fluorine and chlorine, which belong to group 17, this group. So how many electrons do fluorine and chlorine have in their outermost shell? Hence we can say that the groups in the periodic table signify an identical outer shell electronic configuration. They signify an outer shell electronic configuration which you have studied in your class 6. On the other hand, the number of shells increases as we go down the group. As we go down the group, the number of shells increases. Now, there is an anomaly when it comes to the position of hydrogen. When it comes to the position of hydrogen, there is an anomaly because it is placed either in group 1 or group 17 of the periodic in the first period, right? Now, if you look at the modern periodic table, you will find that the elements lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon, they are present in the second period, right? This way, here, second period, and so you can write down their electronic configuration. Now, do these elements also contain the same number of valence electron? We saw that the elements in the same group, in one group, they contain same number of valence electron, but do the elements in the same period also contain the same number of valence electron? You will find that these elements of the second period do not have the same number of valence electron, but they contain the same number of shells. You also observe that the number of valence shell electron increases by 1 unit as the atomic number increases by 1 unit on moving from left to right in a period. When you move from left to right in a period, the valence shell electron increases by 1 unit. Why? Because the atomic number increases by 1 unit. Or we can say that atoms of different elements with the same number of occupied shells are placed in the same period. Atoms of different elements but having the same number of occupied shells. They are having the same number of occupied shells, so they are placed in the same period. Then sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine and argon, they belong to the third period of the modern periodic table. Since the electrons in the atoms of these elements are filled in K, L and M shells. So write the electronic configuration of these elements and confirm the above statement. So each period marks a new electronic shell getting filled. Right? Each period will mark a new electronic shell. Now, how many elements are there in the first, second, third and fourth periods? We can explain the number of elements in these periods based on how electrons are filled in various shells. So as if suppose you will study the details of this in your higher classes. Now recall that the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in a shell depends on the formula 2n square, where n is the number of given shell from the nucleus, right? For example, if I take K shell have, so the K shell that is 2 into n square. So the first period has, so the first period means 1, 2n square, n is the number of shell, so 2 into 1 square will be 2, so the first period has 2 elements. Second period, that is the L shell will be 2 into 2 square, that will be 2 into 4, which is 8, so the second period have 8 elements. This is 2 into 1 square. Similarly, 2 into 2 square, 2 into 3 square, which will be third period will have, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh periods have 8, 18, 18, 32, 32 elements respectively. The reason for this you will study in your higher classes. And the seventh period will have the rest of its elements. The position of an element in the periodic table tell us about its chemical reactivity. Why this is 18, 18, 32, 32, it is repeated, that you will study in your higher classes. So, as you have learnt, the valence electrons determine the kind and number of bonds formed by an element. So, can you now say why Mendeleev's choice of formula of compounds as the basis for deciding the position of an element in his table was a good one? How would this lead to elements with similar chemical properties being placed in the same group? So this is the how the elements are placed in the table. First period 2 elements, second period 8, third period 8, fourth 18, fifth 18, sixth 18 and seventh the rest of that, sixth 32 and seventh the rest of the elements. Now the number of valence electron in atom of elements decides which elements will be first in period and which will be last. How will we decide that which element will be first and which will be last? It depends on the number of valence electrons in atom of elements. Suppose in group first and second, in group 1 to 2 group and 13 to 17, they contain normal metals, right? Normal elements. Then 3 to 12, group 3 to 12 contain transition elements. Group 57 to 71, here this group are lanthanides and 89 to 103 are actinides. Group 3 to 12, this is transition elements. 13 to 17, this whole 13 to 17, it is normal elements. Group 1, 2 and 13 to 17 is normal elements. This is of noble gas. These are lanthanides, these are actinides, and group 3 to 12 are transition elements, which we can also call as metalloids. Okay, these are all the metals, these are all non-metals, right? I hope I'm clear. Left hand side are the metals, right hand side are the non-metals, and this middle one are the metalloids, which we can also call as transition elements. This lower are lanthanides and actinides. Now, hydrogen element has been placed at the top of first group of electronic configuration. So, electronic configuration of hydrogen is similar to that of alkali metal, and both have one valence electron. As I told you that hydrogen atom possess the possess the electronic configuration similar to that of alkali metals. So, the electron of group 1 element is 1, the electron of group 2 element 2, electron of group 3 element will be group 13 is 3. 14 will be 4, 15 will be 5, 16 6, 17 and 18 7 and 8. Then if you want to learn the periodic table, this we will study this note. How it is done? This we will be studying it in detail in your higher classes. Then if you want to learn the periodic table in a similar way, in an easy manner, this you have to learn it for sure. But if you want to learn it, it could be some tricks are there for this periodic table. If you want to learn for group 2, this group, so it could be like it is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. So if you want to learn, it could be beta, mange, car, scooter, bap, roe. It could be learned like this way. This is group 2, beta, mange, car, scooter, bap, roe. Then if you want to learn for group 13, group 13 is boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. So it could be bangan, aloo, gajar in thela, right? Bangan, aloo, gajar in thela. Boron, aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium. Then if you want to learn for group 15, group 15 is nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. So this you can learn like Nana Patekar, Azrani, sab, bekar. Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. So this you can learn as Nana Patekar, Azrani, sab, bekar. You can learn it like this way, but you have to learn the periodic table by yourself. Once again, these two, first left hand side is the metals, right hand side is the non-metals. These are the metalloids. We can also call them as transition elements. This is the lanthanide series, this is the actinide series, this is the noble gas. Okay, so that's all of the periodic table. Then tomorrow in the next lecture, in the next lecture we are going to study about some more, that is some trends in the modern periodic table, which consist of valency, atomic size, metallic and non-metallic properties. This we are going to study in the next lecture. Thank you and have a great day.